They don't fear the man who yells. They fear the one who doesn't move. The one who watches, waits, and makes you question yourself without saying a word. Machiavelli, that charming old cynic, would smirk at today's obsession with authenticity. He knew the truth: power isn't about being seen. It's about being unreadable. Because once they can't read you, they can't control you. This video will teach you the most unsettling weapon in psychological warfare: dark body language. Stillness that dominates. Silence that disorients. A gaze that makes even confident men hesitate. You'll learn how to control your presence so completely, they'll second-guess their every word while you say nothing. It's not about looking confident. It's about making them feel weaker, just by being in the same room. Your body is no longer a vehicle for expression, it's a weapon. A locked vault. A silent projection of pressure. In this video, you'll learn how to master one of the most devastating traits in the hierarchy of power: dark body language. The kind that freezes enemies, hypnotizes rivals, and forces respect from even those who want you gone, not because you spoke, but because you didn't. Most people move too much. They adjust their sleeves, bounce their legs, nod at every sentence. It looks harmless, normal, even polite. But in power dynamics, it's weakness made visible. Every unnecessary motion screams fear. Every fidget exposes submission. That's why the most dangerous man in the room is the stillest. He moves only when necessary. He sits without shifting. He stands like he owns the floor. That stillness isn't passive, it's engineered. And it makes people uncomfortable. Stillness builds tension. Tension becomes control. When you don't react, others start reacting for you. They over-explain, overshare, overperform. You stay composed, and their behavior betrays them. You place them under invisible pressure while staying behind the mask. It doesn't matter how strong they look, if they move too much, they look insecure. If you stay still, you look dominant. This isn't about robotic stiffness, it's about precision. The less you move, the more every gesture carries weight. Machiavelli wouldn't raise his voice or beg for influence. He would sit back and let others unravel in his silence. Because true power doesn't announce itself, it waits. Quiet. Unreadable. Then strikes without warning. That's the standard. So train for it. Practice holding your body still under pressure. Train your eyes not to flinch. Slow down your gestures until they feel like decisions. Move only when you intend to influence. In a world of anxious overreactors, the man who does less becomes the one everyone watches, and no one wants to provoke. Because the predator that doesn't move is the one you never see coming. If something shifted in you, don't wait for permission. No one's coming. You take it. Through silence. Through presence. Through control. Subscribe, not for noise, but for evolution. Like the video to mark the moment you stopped being ignored. Most people think lying happens with words. It doesn't. The real lie, the one that persuades, controls, and conquers, is physical. People don't believe what you say. They believe what your body shows. They read your posture, your tone, your stillness. They look for cracks. That's why most liars fail. Their mouths tell one story, but their legs, hands, and voice expose another. They're caught before the sentence ends. But the Machiavellian trains his body to lie and be believed. He knows this: if your body looks certain, people will believe almost anything, even if it's dangerous, even if it's ridiculous. Certainty sells. Doubt destroys. That's why con artists win trust. Why CEOs calm the room during collapse. Why politicians speak calmly while everything burns. The same weapon, total physical control. Relaxed posture. Blank face. Even tone. Deliberate movement. Internally, there may be chaos. Externally, nothing leaks. That's how credibility is built, not through truth, but through unreadability. You don't have to be right. You just have to look like you never ask for permission. Here's how to train it: disconnect emotion from expression. Feel panic, show nothing. Become emotionally bilingual. What's inside stays inside. Then control your breath. Shallow breathing gives you away. Deep, slow breathing locks your presence into place. It slows your heart rate, stabilizes your voice, keeps your mask from slipping. Don't react instantly. Make silence your default. Let them speak into it and fill the void. Watch how quickly they expose themselves when you give them nothing. Mirror only what you want to reflect. If you need trust, echo their calm. If you need control, stay unreadable. Subtle mimicry creates illusion. And above all, train under pressure. You won't master this in comfort. You need chaos to build composure. You need tension to build stillness. Hold your frame when it burns. Stay expressionless when everything inside screams. Most people live in reaction. Their body betrays every emotion before they even process it. But if you can lock into a controlled image and hold it, you're untouchable. You can lie without suspicion, manipulate without resistance, lead without qualification. Because no one challenges the man who looks untouchable. Machiavelli said, "It is not necessary to be good, only to appear so." An appearance is not built from morality, or honesty, or good intentions. It's built from control. This is how spies infiltrate. How rulers deceive. How the cunning outlast the loud. They're not honest, they're composed. Because in the game of power, perception isn't secondary. It is reality. And perception begins the moment you enter the room, not with your words, but with your presence. From this point on, your body is no longer a mirror of emotion. It's a weapon. A mask. A tool. Train it to tell the story you want others to believe. Even if it's a lie, especially if it's a lie. Because in this world, the truth doesn't win. Certainty does. There's a reason predators lock eyes before they strike. The gaze is war, silent, psychological, surgical. Most people can't handle it. They flinch. They break eye contact. They look down. And every time they do, they lose ground. You might not notice it consciously, but your brain does. Eye contact exposes the hierarchy: who's in control, who's pretending, and who just failed the test. In the power game, if you can't hold eye contact, you don't just look weak, you are weak. Because eye contact is dominance without violence. It's confrontation without sound. It's a test. And most people fail it. But the powerful? They train the stare. No emotion. No blinking. No response. Their eyes say what their mouth never has to. I see you. I'm not impressed. And I'm not moving. This isn't aggression. It's control. The goal isn't to intimidate with rage, that's emotional and sloppy. The goal is to disturb with certainty. To make the other person question themselves by simply not reacting. That's where the Machiavellian edge comes in. If you control your gaze, you control their mind. People panic when they're watched and can't decode the response. They start asking themselves, did I say something wrong? Why isn't he reacting? What is he thinking? That uncertainty forces submission. And it can be trained. Start with mirrors. Hold your own stare without smiling. No flinching, no softening, no eye movement. Make it natural. Then take it to the real world. Watch others while staying expressionless. You'll see how fast most people squirm when they feel observed without approval. Then escalate, use it in conversation. When someone speaks to you, don't immediately react. Hold their gaze just a second longer than feels comfortable. Let the silence do the heavy lifting. You'll notice people begin to explain more. Agree more. Overcorrect. Try harder to impress you, even if you never ask them to. That's the hidden weapon behind the gaze. It forces others to reevaluate themselves while reinforcing your position. But here's the catch: if your internal state isn't stable, it won't work. You can't stare with confidence while your body shakes with fear. That's why stillness comes first. Gaze is the second blade, sharper, faster, more precise. When you master both, you'll develop a presence that unsettles even those above you. You'll hear things like, "You make people nervous." Good. That's the point. Machiavelli wouldn't tell you to be liked. He'd tell you to be calculated around. If they feel watched, they behave. If they feel judged, they self-correct. If they can't read your stare, they retreat. And if your eyes hold calm pressure like blades on the table, you don't need to speak. You've already won the psychological battle before it started. So next time you walk into a room, don't smile first. Don't look down. And don't blink just because they did. Let your gaze deliver what they're too afraid to hear. I don't need your approval. I don't need your comfort. I'm here to observe and dominate. In the hierarchy of power, there's an unwritten rule: the one who reacts first loses. The world is filled with bait, insults, provocations, fake praise, emotional hooks, and most people fall for every single one. They explain. They defend. They lash out. And every reaction is a gift to the opponent. Now they know your weak spot. Now they know what gets under your skin. Now they know how to control you. Understand this: the moment you react, you become predictable. And predictable people are easy to manipulate. The powerful don't flinch. They don't explain themselves emotionally. They don't respond to every shot fired. They watch. They wait. And while others throw punches, they gather data. Machiavelli would advise you: let others reveal themselves. Let them speak too much. Let them lose control. Then strike, but only when you're sure. You can't do that if you're busy reacting like everyone else. Look around. The weak can't shut up. Silence makes them panic. They need to speak to feel real. They need to explain to feel seen. They need to argue to feel powerful. But that's not power, that's desperation. Real power is patience. Silence. Restraint under pressure. Think silence makes you look weak? Only if you're insecure. In truth, silence unsettles people because it forces them to guess. They don't know what you're thinking. They don't know if you're calm or furious, plotting or disengaged. And that ambiguity is lethal. It's one of the sharpest psychological tools in your arsenal. Here's what you need to understand: emotion isn't your enemy. Visibility is. You can feel rage, just don't show it. You can feel insulted, just don't react. Because the second they see it affected you, they know they own you. The moment someone mocks you and you flinch, they win. The moment you rush to explain, you've already lowered your rank. The moment you try to prove your worth, you're playing their game. And you've already lost. Train your stillness where it hurts most, under provocation. When someone tests you, don't flinch, don't defend, don't rush to reclaim control. Let their words hang in the air like bait. Let them feel the weight of your silence. When someone mocks you, don't laugh along, stare. Don't blink. Don't move. Make them explain what they meant. When someone raises their voice, lower yours. When they speed up, slow down. When they crack, stay still. The one who remains composed under pressure doesn't just appear to be in control, he is the control. Think of the leaders, the bosses, the dominant men you feared or respected. Were they loud? Emotional? Easily provoked? Or were they the ones who never reacted, the ones who turned your performance into a monologue you started questioning mid-sentence? That's the goal. Your lack of reaction creates a mirror. And people begin to see their own instability reflected back at them. Machiavelli would say it plainly, he who remains unmoved forces others to move first. And the first move reveals the weakest player. So stop giving people the luxury of knowing you. Stop rewarding pressure with response. Let them try to shake you, and fail. Every second you hold your calm, they unravel a little more. Every silence you maintain is a quiet noose tightening around their ego. Every blank expression is a quiet, unspoken verdict, you don't matter enough to react to. From now on, if it doesn't serve your strategy, you don't respond. No emotion. No explanation. No need to defend what doesn't require validation. That's not weakness, that's control. And control is the highest currency in the economy of power. There's always a moment in the room when silence becomes louder than anything said. When your stillness starts to choke the space. When people start filling the air with noise just to escape the discomfort you've engineered. That's when you win. Because silence isn't emptiness, it's presence. A heavy, calculated force that makes people expose themselves, question themselves, or retreat entirely. Most people use speech to gain power. The powerful do the opposite, they use silence to make others give it. Machiavelli understood this with precision. The more you say, the more you hand over. Say enough, and your words will be twisted. Your tone will be misread. Your intent will be weaponized. But silence gives nothing, and controls everything. Say nothing, and people will rush to fill in the blanks. They won't assume you're weak. They'll assume you're dangerous. They'll assume you know something they don't. And that assumption is power. That's what flips the dynamic. Silence creates space. And in that space, people start projecting. They justify things you never questioned. They offer information you never asked for. They chase validation while you remain still, and in that chase, they hand you control. Not because you demanded it, but because you made them need your approval. Here's how to weaponize silence. Pause before every response. Even a 1-second delay creates tension. It signals that your words are chosen, not spilled. Withhold agreement. When they expect your validation, don't give it. Let them sit in the uncertainty. Let them wonder if they earned your respect or stepped on a landmine. Keep your face unreadable. A blank face is a psychological scalpel. It makes people second-guess everything they just said. And that questioning? That's the beginning of your control. End conversations before they expect it. The powerful don't linger. They speak with precision and leave the room echoing. You need to understand something, people are addicts. Addicted to feedback, to noise, to reassurance. Silence starves them. And the starved become vulnerable. They chase attention. They chase closure. They chase you. That's what dominance looks like in the modern world. But don't confuse silence with passivity. Stillness is not indecision. It's a threat with the safety on. Every pause you create should feel like it's hiding something sharp, a thought unspoken, a consequence restrained. That's what breaks performers and panics the insecure. That's what makes you the one who controls the tempo of every room. Every conversation has rhythm. And if you control that rhythm, you control the outcome. If they speak fast, respond slow. If they over-explain, stay silent. If they show emotion, don't match it. Let them bend around your stillness. Let them seek your reaction. Let them try to earn your attention without knowing why. That shift is the moment they stop leading and start following. Remember the law: the person who speaks least appears to have the most power. Power doesn't come from volume, it comes from control. And control communicates more in silence than others can express in a 10-minute speech. If your presence applies pressure and your silence generates confusion, you don't need to explain. You don't even need to speak. The moment they try to interpret your silence, you've already won. You see it now. You see how the weak give themselves away in every twitch, every glance, every nervous smile. They have no idea they're stepping into a war zone. Every room is a battlefield. Every conversation is a negotiation. Every word, every gesture, every pause, a weapon. And most people start bleeding before they ever open their mouth. But you've already started the shift. You've stopped trying to be heard. Stop trying to be liked. You understand now that the most powerful man isn't the one who talks the most, or smiles the widest, or fills silence with nervous noise. It's the one who stays still while the room spins around him. The one whose presence forces others to speak. The one who walks slowly, not out of hesitation, but because he dictates the tempo. He owns the pace. He owns the space. There's no more room for random behavior. No more space for reflexive reactions. Every gesture is chosen. Every glance has purpose. You've internalized what most never will, that the man who controls his body controls the room. Because the body speaks first. Long before the words. Before the handshake. Before the pitch. The message is already delivered. Stillness is now your signature. Your stare, your posture, your rhythm, all silent declarations of intent. No wasted movement. No signs of hesitation. While others explain, overperform, and seek approval, you stay silent, watching, calculating, deciding. Because only the insecure try to prove they belong. The powerful already know they do. The weak habits are gone. The twitching legs, the darting eyes, the hunched spine, erased. You've started walking like a man who doesn't hope for respect, he expects it. And that's the line between players and rulers. What they call arrogance, you now recognize as precision. What they see as cold, you know as clarity. There's no virtue in being understood by the crowd. Let them be confused. Let them wonder why you don't flinch, why you don't react, why their games don't work on you. Let them drown in speculation while you stay still. Because the more you reveal, the more you lose. The less you give, the more they believe. Now you understand how to speak without speaking. How to lead without asking. How to walk into a room and own it without a single word. That's the art of dark body language. That's what separates the rulers from the ruled. You no longer display uncertainty. You radiate control, even when you feel the chaos beneath it. Because the world doesn't reward truth. It rewards the performance of strength. And if you can project power when you have none, the world will still believe you're untouchable. That's the final trick. That's the final weapon. You didn't come to be understood. You came to shift the balance. Your presence isn't a request, it's a redesign of the room. If it makes them uncomfortable, even better. Discomfort forces respect. And silence forces obedience. This isn't a tactic. It's the dismantling of weakness. No more reactive habits. No more wasted motion. From now on, you move with intention, or not at all. And when you stop moving entirely, they lean in. not to connect, but to comply. If you're ready to solidify what just awakened, continue where this leaves off. Machiavellian power as design, the architecture of control begins there. Because power isn't found. It's built.